Hi, my name's Kirsty, and today I'm going to talk to you about freedom, 3 steps to freedom, how you can get there, and why it's important. Now, before I jump in, do not hesitate to click below, like, and of course, subscribe. Do share this with anybody else that you feel is also scared that they don't know how to feel free anymore. And of course, comment and ask me any questions, and I'll try my best to answer it. But with further ado, let's dive into today's little video, which is how to deal with feeling free from the inside out in 3 steps. Now, currently in life, there is some crazy things going on this planet, and it seems like our freedom is getting ripped from under us for the sake of some virus that apparently is deadly. Now, this is not about whether the virus is deadly or not, so I'm not going to go down that, and that's a personal kind of research opinion, but it is about how we can feel free. Now, there was a beautiful quote that I read not so long ago about a man who was in prison, who was as free as a dog, and that the other man that was living his life felt completely crippled and like stuck in his own kind of quarters, almost feeling suffocated by lack of freedom. So what was the difference between these two people? Because surely the man in the prison would be the guy that should not be feeling free. Well, the truth is that freedom is an inside out job. It is utterly an inward experience. So the perceived idea that you are free or not free is how you will feel free. So the man that's in the prison, regardless of the fact that he had maybe no freedom in his physical environment, internally he was totally free. He was not captured by the torrentious thoughts of doom and gloom. He was not lost in like thinking the woe is me and worrying about never getting out of these 4 walls. He was free in the sense that he'd anchored himself into the present moment and was bathing in the glory of that was being presented to him in that moment. And what I mean by that is by experiencing that inward connection from the inside out. So the man in prison was as free as can be. And yet the man who lived outside, who did not know this knowledge, that was free to leave his house, was free to do whatever he wanted, well, maybe not at the moment with lockdowns, was stuck and captured in the prison of his own mind. His thoughts were a million miles an hour, never ending, and very negative. And what this did is it caused him to feel anxious and stressed, and all these horrible negative thoughts were just making him feel horrendous. So the difference is that what he had going on was no freedom from the inside out, because he was stuck in his mind. He was stuck in his thoughts. He was stuck in a future thought or a past thought. He wasn't experiencing life in the present moment. And that fundamental difference makes all the difference. So how do you get free? Well, first of all, you need to question basically what freedom means to you. Have you given it the right meaning, first of all? Is the realization that freedom that you might have given, the meaning you've given freedom is actually out of date and needs updating? And if so, you need to do that first of all. So that's step 1. Step 2 is about having an inward practice. Right, I know that we're told to eat well, we're told to drink water, we're told to move our body, but if it was me and I was running this planet, I would be telling everybody that they need to meditate. Meditation should not be an option. It should be a necessity for mental, physical, and emotional health. Because what it teaches you, a good meditation practice, it teaches you how to create some space backwards so that you can observe your thoughts, you can observe your feelings. So a thought then suddenly becomes like the thought, I'm hungry, passes through our experience, and we can see that thought, we can see it. So if we can see it, we can't possibly be it. It's like you can see that pen, so you can see that pen, so you can't possibly be it. And so thoughts are no different. And when you start to meditate, what actually happens is you start to recognize or have that distance, that space, if you like, between you and the thought. And you start to become the observer of your experience. Now, when you become the observer of your experience, things change dramatically. Oh boy, yes, they do. Because what you start to realize is that you are watching these experiences, these thoughts, which means you can't be those thoughts. So these negative thoughts that may come into your experience, that, by the way, come into everybody's experience from time to time, you have a choice. You either observe it and let it go, which it will, by the way, or you unconsciously, which is what most people do, grab it and turn that thought into a thinking process. Now, I'm going to tell you a little story. So stress, okay, on the nervous system. So you're made up of one big nervous system, which, by the way, needs to be healing all the time, which is why sleep is so important. When your nervous system doesn't get a chance to heal, then that's when we start to feel ill. It's when we start to feel distorted. That's when we start to feel fatigued. It's when we start to feel like we can't get a grip on ourselves. Well, guess what causes that? Well, I'm going to tell you now. What the biggest cause of stress on your nervous system is identifying with these thoughts and going off into thinking. And the reason for that is because every thought is attached to an emotion. So thoughts are, and I heard Joe Dispenza say this once and I love it, so I'm going to use it. Thoughts are the language of the mind. Feelings are the language of the body. They can't exist without each other because the mind and body are completely connected. So what happens is if you're putting your attention onto negative thinking, then what you then create in the body is a chemical reaction with neuropeptides that basically flood every cell of your body in seconds, is in the same vibrational level reverence to that thought. So if it is negative, then you can guarantee that you're going to be creating things like cortisol, adrenaline, which is fine in short term, spouts into the body, it's not a problem. Long-term problem, big problem. Because if you can imagine, if you had a car, you never put any fuel in it, and you kept revving it and revving it and revving it, at some point it will break. And that is you. If you don't protect your nervous system, you don't fuel yourself back up, if you don't heal it, then at some point it will break. And so it does. It breaks into anxiety, depression, breakdowns, panic attacks, back pain, neck pain, you name it. So let's go back to what I was saying then. Number 2 is becoming aware of where you're putting your attention onto thoughts or presence. And if you want to feel free, you need to come back here. Okay, and then finally, freedom step number 3. Freedom, as I said, is an inside-out job. So where attention goes, energy flows. You might as well decide right now how you want to feel, how you want to be, and then put your attention there. So instead of putting it on something downward spiraling, why don't we put it on something that expands you upwards? And the fastest and greatest way to do that is with the attitude of gratitude. Because when you are grateful, you cannot help but to start to shift your biochemistry within your body that makes you feel empowered, strong, makes you feel uplifted, it makes you feel fabulous. So these are my 3 tips. If you want to feel free, remember it's an inside job. Now, if you've liked this video, please do like below. Don't forget to subscribe, and obviously don't forget to share it with all your friends. I'm going to give you a little gift below as well. I have a lovely link to one of my new little masterclasses. It's only about 7 or 8 minutes long. And at the end of that, I'm going to invite you to a free discovery session. If you are somebody who wants to break through this freedom and you are ready, you've had enough. You don't want to feel stressed. You don't want to feel anxious anymore. You don't want to feel this pain anymore. You just want to live your best life and you are ready to step up, then click that link below and come and have a chat with me. Otherwise, have an amazing day and I'll speak to you soon.